Hey everybody, Friend in the Neighborhood or Crimson here with the preview for my Neon Mugen series, my more competitive Mugen series. A couple of things we want to go over, and then I have a little treat for you. Now, as it says in the top right corner of this screen pack, the Neon Mugen screen pack, you already know two characters there in here, apparently, Cyclops Ragna. But the Neon Mugen screen pack is by NecroRK, which is pretty cool. He made a really cool screen pack here. This is obviously what I'm using for Neon Mugen. Now, some people might find the organization of my roster a little weird here. These little squares are actually supposed to represent different tiers. I have the B tier in this area here, the A tier in this area down here, and the S tier in this area up here. Down here is where the guest characters will be, at least until they get moved into a permanent position, if they do. So, like, basically, if anyone wants to submit a team to try out in this competitive Mugen, I can put them in here, and I can have them fight several of my characters and stuff, and then eventually, if I find them really good, I'll actually put them in one of my tiers. Now, as you can see, B tier is all filled up, so if another character goes into B tier, they'll be kicking one out. A tier will just keep adding, S tier will just keep adding until those fill up, and then the same thing will happen with them. Unfortunately, the same thing can happen to guest characters, so be careful for that too. But I don't know if I'm actually going to get enough to guest characters for this. Now, all characters will be in, okay, I shouldn't say all characters will, but most characters will be in both 1v1 and teams. Depending on the characters will depend on what they do. Like, for example, Richter and Alucard are B tier. So when they go into 1v1s, they'll be B tier. But when they're together as a team, they are really good. Like, they have good chemistry enough for the team to be A tier. So that's where they'll be when they're fighting in a team. They'll be going against A tier teams. While on the other hand, Miku, who's A tier, doesn't necessarily have a teammate that's kind of her style, so she might not be in teams. But almost every person who is in a team will also be doing 1v1 matches. This might change when we get guests and such, because if for some reason we have a team that works together really well for like B tier, but alone they're not even good enough to be B tier, then they might not be doing 1v1 so well, or so much. And same vice versa. Anyway, for B tier, our contestants are Alucard from Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Baiken from Guilty Gear. She always makes me think of Batosai if he was a girl. Just the way she fights and stuff, she's a samurai like he is, and they just seem similar to me also. They both have reddish pink hair and whatever. Bison from Street Fighter. Cammy from Street Fighter. Not as cheap as TK's Cammy. Deadpool from Marvel. Eiji from King of Fighters. Geese from King of Fighters. Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Guy from Street Fighter. Haruhi from the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. E Honda from Street Fighter. Hotaru from Mark of the Wolves, and I think it's called an SNK game. Kane, an OC, not mine. Ice, another OC. Karen from Street Fighter. Reptile from Mortal Kombat. Morrigan from Darkstalkers. Maria from Star Ocean Till the End of Time. Lele from Darkstalkers. Kyle from Tales of Destiny 2, I believe. Richter from Castlevania, in this one, Symphony of the Night. He was also in Rondo Blood and Dracula X, and then the Dracula X Chronicles. Robert from King of Fighters. I'm just going to say King of Fighters because that's where they're all in, and it's the easiest one to remember. Roll from Mega Man. Ryo from King of Fighters. Sakura from Street Fighter. Julius from Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. Kim from... Actually, this one I believe is from Mark of the Wolves. Because it's not Kim Kapawan, it's actually Kim Jae-hoon. But everyone who sees TK's videos knows this Kim because he's the one who's partnered with AG. Ella from The Ring. Yuri from King of Fighters. Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. Segalo from I really don't know. Dragonclaw and OC. Jill from Resident Evil. Quando from I'm not quite sure. And Sensei Ken from Street Fighter. For A tier, we have Terry from King of Fighters. Batman from DC. Kless from Tales of Fantasia, I believe. Evil Ken from Street Fighter. Evil Ryu from Street Fighter. Faust from Guilty Gear. Hakumen from Blaze Blue. Hayomaru from Samurai Showdown. Kiko and OC based on Kai from Guilty Gear. Leona from King of Fighters. Miku from Vocaloid. Mech from King of Fighters. God Adele from King of Fighters. Venom from Marvel, or Spider-Man more specifically. Wolverine from X-Men. Sakuya from Toho. Ryu from Street Fighter. Robo-Kai 3 from Guilty Gear. Reimu from Toho. Ragna from Blaze Blue. Oswald from King of Fighters. Moria from Last Blade. Kaede from Last Blade. Cyclops from X-Men. Nobunaga from... I'm not quite sure what this Nobunaga's from, but he's an actual historical figure. So, from Life. Evil Dan from Street Fighter. Justice from Guilty Gear. Juzo from Last Blade. Washizuka from Last Blade. Orochi Vega from Street Fighter. Chip from Guilty Gear. Virgil from Devil May Cry 3 specifically. And Shin Akuma from Street Fighter. Finally, my majorly lacking S tier roster. I probably have some more S tier characters laying around. Just the problem is a lot of my S tier characters are a little way too cheap, like that they can't be defeated. And so I'm trying to keep my ones that relatively can there, but even then the balance is way out of whack. We have Aura Second Revival, and OC of my friend Crew. Is he my friend? Yeah. Okay. Sula, same thing, OC from Crew. Lucy from Elfen Lied. God Orochi from King of Fighters. Mega Weapon, Street Fighter OC? I'm not sure if he's actually from anything. Rare Akuma. God. Pocket Akuma. Pocket Chun-Li. Nightmare Broly. Zarbon. Oh, Dragon Ball Z, Pocket Fighter. Koryu. Like Ryu with Toho Bullet Hell Hidokens. Street Fighter. Elk from I really don't know. And Broly from Dragon Ball Z. Now, one last thing I want to mention. Depending on their win-to-loss ratio, or two more things I want to mention. Depending on their win-to-loss ratio, a character might get upgraded to another tier. Like, might get promoted. Like, say, Segalo got, like, 20-3 or something like that, then they'll definitely be promoted to A tier, and you'll see that their slot will move down to the A tier section. While on the other hand, if another character like, I don't know, like one of these characters, say Kless did really bad, and he was getting a bunch of losses, he'd get moved to B tier. Depending on how well he works in B tier, he'll probably, if he gets moved to B tier, then the lowest B tier will probably get kicked out if Kless can beat it in a fight. If not, then Kless gets kicked out and stays on my roster. That's scary. Anywho, same thing. B tier characters might end up fighting A tier characters. A tier characters might end up fighting S tier characters. If so, it counts on a different power ranking. Like the power rankings, there's going to be A tier power rankings, S tier power rankings, and B tier power rankings. So, if a B tier fights an A tier and loses, it's counted as an A tier loss, not a B tier loss, so they can still stay high up on the B tier. Now, if a B tier character beats a couple of A tier characters, it's a lot faster way of them getting into A tier than beating a bunch of B tier. Like, say you'd have to beat 20 B tier, whereas in you'd only have to beat maybe like 3 A tier. I'm sorry if this is all getting confusing. I'm trying to explain as best I can. You'll probably see once everything starts working out, you'll kind of understand what I mean. Anyway, now for that little special event I was trying to tell you about. Some people might be wondering why I have Pocket Fighter characters, Chun-Li and Akuma, in the S tier zone. These characters blow my mind. None of their attacks are overpowered. They do relatively basic damage. They don't have, like, an intense amount of health, and they can die. But their AI overtly, excessively uses their parry almost perfectly. It is extremely hard to get any hits on them because the AI knows how to use the little moments where there's invincibility states really well as the Pocket Fire parry ability when they do that taunt and they can't be hit during that time. They can also counter attacks really well, and the Pocket character blocking, when they block, they do not take anywhere near as much chip damage as other characters. The chip damage is very small. So with all of that, these things tank. And I don't think I have a single B or A tier character who could take one out. In fact, here today, I want to show you Chun-Li. Whoops, that's arcade mode. Versus Nightmare Broly. It's going to be on the 6th view stage. And brace yourselves.